from the playoff consideration, but Gosu is still possibly... It could either be in or out of the playoffs both, depending on how this week's go. So this is still an important match for them. They do need to win this to definitely ensure that they're going to be able to get the playoffs. But anyway, starting here in the bottom left from LiT eSports, our purple Terran player is Honey Badger. His opponent up here in the top right from Gosu, he got 2 wins without having to even build a drone. This is Raj. I've definitely got the CTL logos file on. It's alright. Both of these teams are in the CTL, so it's not a big deal, other than the fact that logo in the middle of the map is going to be wrong. Curious if it's wrong on my alt too or not. No. Fix that after this game, but not a big deal. So TVZ on a very large map, and we do have cross-position spawns, so I'm stoked because I love macro games. And I love TVZ. So I'm hoping both of these players can take this game a little further than the first 5 minutes, but given the fact that the 2-1-1 build is so popular and so destructive, I wouldn't be shocked to see Honey Badger pull that out. We did see the hatch come down first for Raj, and then into his gas and into his pool. Pretty standard opener here from him, and then of course on the other side of the map, the same sort of deal from Honey Badger. He's got his first Reaper on the way. He's got his first command center, second command center technically coming down. It's all up to whatever happens after this. If we're going to see a factory initially, or if he's going to go into additional barracks, whatever he happens to choose. It's going to be a factory initially, so I'm a fan because I don't know, 2-on-1 is just boring to me. I don't know why I think it's boring, but I think it's boring. We got a reactor coming down to the barracks. This is the old school style of play. Honey Badger, I'm not sure how much he actually plays anymore necessarily. I think he was a lot more active many seasons ago. He plays a little less now than he used to, but he is a diamond. I'm pretty sure he used to be plat quite often. So it is good to see him up in diamonds. But perhaps his builds aren't quite as modern as some other ones. We're going to go and get on in, but Lings are in a pretty decent place for Raj. We're going to push that away. And Honey Badger did have an SCV scout, so he did see what's in the main base. He doesn't necessarily need to get up there. He's probably more interested in, is there a third base on either of these locations? Or are you going to just all-in me in some fashion? Which is a possibility, because, hey, look, we got a Bailey Nest. This could possibly go ahead and just be some sort of a Bane Bust. The fact that this is cross positions makes this really, really difficult for Raj. It's going to take him a long time to get over there. It's not necessarily that the Lings are slow, because obviously Lings are really, really fast, but it's still such a long distance. Kind of the nice thing for Raj is the fact that Honey Badger, I mean, he made the reactor on this barracks, but he didn't switch over the factory over there, so he's getting a tank right now. I think tanks are great. But they're without a wall off. It can be kind of scary. I mean, Honey Badger is starting to make the wall. He's got a single depot. He's got the bunker. He's making another depot now. Seeing the amount of Lings that he did out on the map with his Reaper could be a little bit of a tell. It's kind of a question of whether or not he's going to realize that and try to do anything about it. First tank is out, and it's in a pretty good position. It is covering the one blank space on the wall, so that's actually really nicely placed there by Honey Badger. Lings are kind of threatening. There's not a whole lot of them, honestly. There's only 18 Lings, and there's 6 Banes. If they go in through this right side, they can do a lot of damage, but if they go through the left where the tank actually is, this could be really, really scary for Raj. A little bit of lag there. Oh, yeah. This isn't looking great for our Zerg player. Bane's getting shelled. They go down almost completely, and that little push is absolutely murdered. So it was a good thought from Raj, but just not quite executed as well as it possibly could have been. We do have a layer coming in behind this for Raj. He did have his third high trap, so it wasn't like he was all in. It was just a little bit of a pressure. Maybe this is something he normally does, where he wants to have units out anyway. He's like, okay, you're not attacking me, so let's go ahead and just try and bust you and see if I get some SCV kills. But with the tank up there. I mean, he got 10 kills. I think the first shot killed 5 Banes alone. So that was frightening. Actually got a Spore coming up in each one of these bases for our Zerg player. He's down in workers a little bit right now. He's only got 36. The Terran player's got 40. You don't really ever want to be behind workers of a Terran, or really any race as a Zerg player. So this could be difficult to actually defend this. There's a decent amount of Lings out on the map. He's got 11. A lot of these are out in the Watchtower, though. He doesn't really have any Overlords. He's got the one down here in the bottom right, but that's definitely not going to see this drop. Drones are moving over to this third base location. Not really sure what Raj's response is going to be to this. He's got Overlord speed on the way. He doesn't really have anything unit-wise being created right now. He just has these few Lings, a couple of Banelings. These 2 medevacs are going to be able to go in and get basically whatever they want, and just switching over to Raj's vision, waiting for his reaction to this. Right now he's looking at his main base, getting that Bane speed, because that's a good thing to have. Hasn't really even reacted to the fact that there is, hey, there's a drop in my base. He does pick up his army units and realize that this is here. One of my shot does go off. He gets quite a bit done with those initial Banelings. A couple more Banelings do roll on in. These will die, and most of this drop is cleaned up. So a pretty good defense there by Raj. All things considered, that could have gone a lot worse for him. He had so few army units out at that point. But Honey Badger probably would have been wiser to just go into the main base at that point. But after that Widowmine shot went off, I think he thought he was in a better position than he actually was. And went ahead and said, yeah, I'm going to drop there again. But then there were more units. And a couple of slow Banes went ahead and cleaned that up. First couple Hydras going to be popping up here in a couple seconds. It's going to be the choice there from our Zerg player. Yet another drop is moving out on the map. And of course there is still the medevac with a couple units on the right side, but I think it is going on home at this point. It's only got the 2 Marines, so that will be a bit of a waste. But Honey Badger looked like he wants to get a little aggressive to this. Again, just trying to drop, pull his opponent around. With a map this large, it's not a bad idea. It's going to be really difficult to defend everywhere all at once, especially if you want to be on the map at all, as either player, honestly. If you're on the map, that means most of your army is probably not with you. A few Lings are coming in for Raj, but they don't have any upgrades besides speed. They're going against +1 Marines with a couple medevacs, but do a pretty decent job there. Widowmine's here to help and support. Shots should go off and do a lot of damage. There we go. Both of them go off, but one Widowmine actually cleaned up there. Same time, this drop is moving over into the natural base. There's not a lot back here, I don't think. There's a few army units somewhere. There's a couple of Hydras. Actually, there was a Baneling like right where he dropped. One Widowmine does go down. Perez gets shot off, and the Widowmine's trying to target a drone, but the drone just comes back in gas, and it makes a Hydra take a kill there. And a lot of workers will get cleaned up here. There's not a lot here that can actually deal with this, but eventually a couple more Banelings do roll on in and force that drop to move away. But 9 drones killed there by Honey Badger, so nice little pickoff for him. And meanwhile, his third base has landed, so he's sitting pretty decently. Just need to start powering up that macro. He's up to 4 barracks right now. 5 barracks, there's a 5th one. I'd assume... Well, he doesn't really have a lot in the way of factory units. He's got Widow Mines. That's been his choice for most of this game. And he's got 5 Widow Mines out on the map in various locations. He's going up against a lot of Lings again. I don't know what Raj is necessarily doing. I think he's just trying to find an opening, but he's going to run right into the Bioforce here. And all those Lings are going to die. Okay, 3 of them get out, but most of those Lings are going to die. So I'm not necessarily sure what Raj's position or thought is going to be going forward. I mean, he's making a bunch of Hydras again. He's got Roachborn on the way. I think he didn't want to go into Roaches at all in this game, so because the map is large and, well, it's difficult to move Roaches across the map this big. There's a large force moving out here for the Terran player. He's got a few Widowmines with us. There isn't still, again, not a lot of army for the Zerg player. He's got 19 Hydras. No Banelings to speak of. And this is going to be kind of scary. The Hydras all are up here at the 3rd base for the most part. There's a couple in the natural that are rolling down now. All those Widowmines getting these shots off, but the Hydra range definitely coming in large here. Not getting a lot of damage done with the Wind Mines. It could be a lot worse. Shots do start going off, however. Eventually, this looks like this might be cleaned up here by the Zerg player. Both players just trading armies. But Honey Badger's army does prevail just a little bit. He's rallying more and more units across the map, but it takes so long to get over here. This push is going to get cleaned up, and now medevacs are going to be under fire. Most of them do get out and get back to the rallying Marines. But Honey Badger is going to want to kind of regroup his forces and rethink this push idea. There's no 4th command center just yet for the Terran player. He's adding on some more barracks at this point. Raj looks like he wants to get aggressive here. His 1-1 did finish up. He's got the Hydra range, the Hydra speed as well. So he can get aggressive with this. There are at least the 1 tank here that's going to be sieged up. It'll be just fine. A couple Lings fighting this wall here. This actually gives Raj a really nice opening to get on top of the tank. If he gets on top of this tank before the army bioforces over here, that spells a lot of disaster, but that is so much bile. They do stem forward. There's a ton of medevacs here. Even with the Hydra speed, with no Bailey support, this just gets absolutely chewed up. And Raj is going to pull back from this as well. +2 range attack on the way, +2 carapace on the way as well for our Zerg player. But on the other side, we have +3 attack, +2 armor on the way for the Terran. So both players keeping their upgrades relatively even. We do have a Lurker Den on the way. Is there an Infestation Pit just yet? I don't believe there is. No Infestation Pit to speak of just yet. Just a lot of Hydras, a lot of Roaches coming out here for Raj. But right now, that's what Honey Badger wants. He wants Raj to be going into these kind of mid-game units and not getting anything tier 3. Not going for that Spire, not going to the Greater Spire portion of this game. But it is a lot of Roach, it is a lot of Hydra. Lurkers will be a threat in a little while if Raj wants to go that direction. But I don't know, to me, that can be scary against the Terran player. That is so many medevacs right now. He's got 9. Perhaps if he starts using some of these, at least 1 or 2 to start dropping, do a lot of damage. He was doing that in the early game, but at this point he's kind of slowed that down and has been focusing more on getting his own tech up, getting his 4th base up. It is turning into a planetary. Got a lot of workers over there already. Both armies now posturing kind of in the middle here. Honey Badger does see this army, and army supplies are pretty much even. The upgrades are definitely in favor of the Terran player. His +3 and +2 armor are about to finish up. The +2 is about to finish up for the Zerg as well. Both these players doing a ton of damage right now. The fight is just barely gonna go in the favor of the Zerg. There's not a lot of Terran army left over here. Medevacs are doing what they can, but Raj pushing through right now. His hive is on the way behind this. He hasn't been remaking this army right now, though. So they are dying and they're not really being replaced. And he's not going to push this advantage just yet. He says, alright, I cleaned your army up. That's fine. Reset our army counts. He's going to make a bunch of lurkers out on the middle of the map. And really not a lot that can deal with this for Honey Badger. He doesn't have Liberators right now. He's picking up a large amount of units for a drop. Depending on what our Zerg player decides to do, especially since these Ravagers did just morph, and he's got a lot of reinforcements coming across, he may try and get aggressive. There's a second drop on the left side of the map as well. I'm going to try and keep an eye on both of these things while we keep an eye on the army in the middle. This army for Raj is super slow as well, and they're on the middle of the map. How is Raj going to be able to actually deal with this? That is going to definitely be the question right now for him, as we do see the drop unloading at the 3rd base. The drop is seen on the other side of the map by an Overlord. I don't know whether or not Raj is going to be able to actually respond to this. As the drop that's coming into the 3rd base, drop on the left side going to be going to the 4th. They're unloading as well, the same location on the other side of the map, but 9 drones already gone down. Army for Raj is trying to come back and get on top of this, but of course his other base is now under fire, as we can see in the bottom right. He is just going to say, okay, you can take that base. I'm going to go ahead and try and defend this one. No problem. He at least wants to keep this hatchery alive. Lurkers, they do burrow, but just picks up. Honey Badger picks up, gets on out. Other side, this drop has been cleaned up as well. Oh, honestly, Honey Badger, he lost a lot there. He did a lot of work. 21 drones do die, 64 workers to 38 right now. Looking at the income tabs, you can really see how brutal that really is right now for the Zerg player, especially the mineral count. But most of the army did get killed up from Honey Badger. But back home, he's been macroing up really, really nicely, and he's got a lot left over. Army that was left over in this one medevac. This does drop down, does clean up the little bit of units that were left behind. There's nothing in production to actually deal with this. Really, most of the army on the other side of the map for Raj. By most of the army, I mean the entire army for Raj is on the other side of the map. Gonna go to try and get into his third base and hope that whatever reinforcements he has are able to clean this up. We're gonna have a large engagement here. These lurkers do need to burrow. The scan goes down anyway, so right on top of this is Honey Badger. He's gonna kill off all of those lurkers. There's one left up on the high ground. Will the scan run out before it dies? The scan does not run out, and there's another one anyway. Army does go down here at the third base of the Terran player. Raj is without an army. He's without a third base. He's only got the one hatchery mining, essentially. There's a little bit of mining going off here in natural, a tiny bit in the main as well. But for the most part, Raj is in shambles. 100 supply difference between these two players. And Honey Badger, he's going to push across the map at this point, I believe. He's even got a couple of Liberators that are joining the fun eventually. And this drop is still existing. This Marauder has 8 kills on it. He's going to get another one. It should die. It's going to die. Moral victories. Even a couple of Lings just rallied into the fight. They're going to go down. And the Liberators are set up on the left. I was going to say they're actually going to do nothing, but Raj is rallying his units back home right in the way of this. I think Honey Badger knew Raj's army that was left over is on this left side, so now the Libs will kill off these last 2 Hydras on their own while the army just ransacks the natural. They're going to go into the main base, and now the only thing left is the hatchery on the upper left side. And there's one down here as well, but it's mostly out of minerals. And it's looking like Honey Badger's going to be able to take a victory here for LiT once Raj decides to go ahead and tap out, which I imagine will be coming soon. He does have, I mean, he's got 4 lurkers. They've got the burrow speed as well. They could kill everything. You never know. They're actually doing a lot of work. I mean, even if this entire army dies, which I think Raj is like, I want to kill a little bit here. Even if the entire army died, he would have been fine. Honey Badger would have been fine. So Honey Badger will take that